Hello and welcome, mourners. You are listening to Dirge of Mourning. I am your host, Andrew A. Graves, alongside Terabella Thorne. And in this episode, we will be talking about what we like, love, and appreciate about funeral doom. Well, I guess that just leads to the question, what do we like? Because there are some things that we dislike, but we'll get to that in a later video, I think.
Yeah, this is just probably going to be mostly the
fun stuff.
Yeah, the aspects that we really enjoy about this genre of music.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you want me to just kind of ramble on and say a few things?
Yeah, why don't you can start then, I guess.
Yeah. So, I came to it kind of later in life, but I found this genre to be completely captivating. What I like about it is the way it makes me feel. So, that means the music usually has to sound a certain way for myself. The lyrics have to have a certain meaning, and I suppose certain elements that maybe I appreciate that maybe not everyone would. I like a very sometimes melodic sound. I appreciate the orchestral kind of, or concert kind of sound.
A more symphonic sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. And I like a inclusion sometimes of the operatic type. I call it operatic type, maybe a soprano soloist or a group of singers that give it, once again, as you said, atmosphere. They're not like the main voice or the main thing, but they're sometimes in there, not always.
Just to enhance it.
Yeah.
See, with those kind of things, would you say that you would probably lean more towards a more traditional sound for like the orchestration and stuff, where like a dirge is sort of more what would be the main instrument you would normally hear, like trumpets and violins and cellos and stuff? Or does that not really matter?
It doesn't matter. It matters more how they sound, but I do like violins. I like some forms of keyboard. I like guitar. I like percussion. I like cymbals. I like some of the songs I like do tend to have a little bit of a jazzy sound, but not overwhelmingly. I think the ones that I really love probably have more of a symphonic or orchestral sound.
Okay.
And as far as the voices, I love clean vocals that are good. If they're crap, forget it. I don't like it. But good clean vocals, and I like the death growl to be used or utilized the way that it should be for this type of music. What I mean is, I don't like a song that's just sort of paced the same way all the way through, using the death growl the same way. What I appreciate more is where it's being included for a reason, whether it's sadness, anger, or sometimes just to lend this atmosphere, this sort of whispery, almost supernatural atmosphere. I like that.
Okay.
I like a lot of different aspects of funeral doom, but what are some of yours?
Well, the list goes on, doesn't it?
Well, you've been listening to this for a long time, and the thing is, you listen to a lot more music per day or week than I do.
That's true. That is true. I guess it starts for me, and what I appreciate about the music is how I could find a good funeral doom song, and that's when it rains, and I'm out for a walk.
There you go.
If the atmosphere of the song matches the atmosphere of like what's going on around me, it's a song that I can gravitate towards. So I'll listen to that song, or even that album for that matter, for a period of time. Like I'll have it on repeat constantly to familiarize myself with like all the different elements.
Yeah, I kind of do that with albums as well, because I like to. The first time you hear an album or even a long song, you don't grasp all of the meaning of it. You just don't.
No, it's true. You do have to sort of like listen to it over and over and over again. For instance, there was a song that I gravitated towards that pretty much lends itself to any time frame and any season and just any environment.
Well, what song is that?
And that is by a band called Enter the Soil.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the song is called The Coffin and the Moth.
Ah.
From the album That Amber Lit Morning. The whole album is absolutely amazing, but that one song stood out to me the first time I heard it, because I was captivated about what the song was about.
That's an interesting song title, it really is.
Well, it's a tragic song that can apply to any moment if someone has had something similar to them go through this. The whole album is, from what I can gather, about a boy who drowns, and the parent or parents have to come to terms with the fact that this child is dead. They bury him, and they go through all the sort of stages of grief and remembrance and all that kind of stuff. That album just sort of like stuck with me for, this could technically be for any, point in time, because of its theme of, just like horrid tragedy, which is ironic for like the things that we like about this music. That yes, most funeral doom is based on tragedy. It's called funeral doom for a reason, and its lyrics usually do encompass, death, mourning, grief, depressions of any sort, memories of loved ones, loss, all those types of things that come along with, the death of a, close friend, loved one, or family member.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what the whole genre is about. I also think, though, it encompasses your own pondering on, the universe and what happens when we die.
Oh, so, yeah, there is a lot of introspection. Introspection? Is that a word?
Introspection, yes.
Introspection, yes. That's the word.
Yeah.
Aye. So, yeah, you do get a lot of like inner thoughts about one's own mortality.
Yes.
Which leads me into the other element that I absolutely love. When we have all of these like concepts that you can work with, they're done in a poetic fashion. The lyrics aren't just...
It attracts me too. I really like that because, of course, I love poetry. I've always loved poetry since I was quite young. The poetic lyrics lend themselves well to this genre and give it atmosphere.
Well, what you got to remember is usually at a funeral, you would have someone usually read a poem or spoken word type concept as a tribute to the deceased. So
right.
I think it only makes sense to have the lyrics be as close to poetry as you could possibly get them, while still keeping it like as a traditional song. So you've got those elements along with the dirge-like orchestration or synthesized keyboards. You've got the heavy metal elements, which bands utilize at their own discretion, you know, either to get across that, yes, this is still heavy metal, or this is to create an atmosphere of dread and doom, you know, to be a bit more poignant in its approach for the content of what the lyrics are about, or just the feeling that you may have for a certain type of song. So that would also lead me into the overall sound of Funeral Doom. It is soul-crushingly beautiful.
It is.
The heaviness, the softness, the structure of even some of the mundane type of Funeral Doom that's out there can actually be quite good just for everyday listening.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of whether you want to think too deeply about it, just having a song in the background while you, I don't know, clean your house, for example. Hell, that's what I do sometimes.
I mean, sometimes I'll listen to stuff I don't even know what they're saying. It's either in a different language, or I'm not looking at the lyrics, or I'm just have it in the background. I think that's one good way, too, to become familiar with the way it sounds.
Oh, absolutely. Because this is why, for like all the years that I've been listening to alternative music and heavy metal and stuff like that, I've probably said this before, I've tried pretty much every genre under the goddamn sun. Nothing comes close to really expressing what I have been looking for musically. I love classical music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
I love poetry.
Yep.
I am pretty much obsessed with cemeteries.
You're probably more obsessed with those than I am. However, it's this sort of atmosphere I like. It's that sort of a little bit dark and creepy atmosphere that I like.
Well, plus, I used to be a grave digger, so that kind of helps.
Right.
And just overall, it can be a very peaceful atmosphere as well. Like, there's songs that you can have that are, you know, like we've already stated with like the vocalization. Yes, they could be angry because of the situation that, like, they've just lost a loved one and they're angry about it, so they need that, you know, sound. And that's where the heavy metal element could come in and really help that. You know, you might get blast beats and heavy guitar riffing, a solo, heavy chunky bass that's played a little bit faster than the standard pacing. You know, all those elements can help express that concept. But on the flip side, you'll get songs that are just absolutely heartbreaking, that will bring you to tears if you actually sit there and listen and understand what is going on.
There are also songs that sound I'm just going to use this word, such a trite small word, but they just sound pretty.
Yeah.
And I like some of those. One of the bands that comes to my mind that I found out about pretty early on in my learning about Funeral Doom was Woe Unto Me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's their first album that has this melodic sound, and they use some form of synthesized keyboard that's just very tinkly and light.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I was just recently listening to that album, and there is just something about that is just like, huh.
It's like almost magic. It's like magic, or almost like you're listening to like a music box or something.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like really cool.
Oh, absolutely. But
so
see, this is where
a lot of elements that can be found in Funeral Doom. I mean, I didn't set out to say, oh, I want to listen to music that's like all about death. I just stumbled upon it, and then later on found out really what the subject matters were mainly about. But then I was intrigued, and I was like, oh, this is really close to spooky stuff I like.
Well, like I said before, for me, it is the overall package that it brings. You will not find anything else within the other genres of metal or alternative music that can capture just this moment in time that everyone will experience.
There's another thing I want to say before we get going here, but to me, I was picking apart this music early on, and it's very, to me, it's an intelligent music.
Oh yes.
And I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to say it. You cannot be a moron and listen to this music. There's something about it that you have got to have something going on. You've got to be thinking about something. You could, as you said before, just put it on and listen in the background. But when it comes right down to it, if you're in love with this genre and if you're finding out about this genre, my guess is you're a highly intelligent person. That is my guess.
I would assume so, because I've yet to really seen any of these bands that not only that we've covered, but that I've looked into, that I would say are on like the lower tier of what I would consider like the other types of music that I could list off. Thrash metal. But yeah.
I forgot completely where we were.
I guess that's what happens when you take bathroom breaks.
So, anyways, what have we said everything we want to say about our views on these things, or did we want to mention other stuff?
I think there's only really one thing left to go, which is the artwork for Funeral Doom album covers is fucking awesome.
It really is. I see it in two sort of paths. One is the more realistic photos taken from actual things, or at least made to look that way. Mm-hmm. And then the other sort of pathway they take is more of a abstract, sort of artistic,
approach
of
so
doing things, and both are just phenomenal. I like looking at the entire, like when I get a CD, I like looking through the whole thing, every single image, and seeing what the band has done. It's very exciting.
Oh, absolutely. This is why I am a huge advocate for getting albums in digipad format.
Oh, yeah.
That way you could see all the like artwork or the photos that they've taken of like different cemeteries, and see, like, some of them you get in just standard black and white with the band name and the title of the album, and just some really cool shots of, like, the cemetery. Others put, like, cool filters over the cemetery photos. They manipulate the image in a certain way where you've got, like, two images blurred together, you know, in some sort of, like, Photoshop monstrosity that looks just awesome, you know. The colour schemes as well, they vary. It's not always just black and white. They can go through a myriad of different shades of, like,
I will
blue.
say most of them are subdued, though, in, like, the softer tones of
you get, like sort of sepia tone-ish colours.
Yeah, bluish, a little bit of shade,
blues,
amber, I mean, you're not going to see, like, extremely bold, bright colors.
Yeah, it's very rare to see something like that. The only time you might see something like that is something like probably the only band that comes to mind that would probably do that is the Howling Void. With their artwork, they do a lot of like foresty, naturey type.
Yeah, but it's still subdued. It's not like in your face primary colors. You know, you're not dealing with like bright
for the
oranges
most part,
and great
yeah,
yellows.
it's still a bit subdued. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not dealing with the things that hurt your eyes in daytime. You know.
That is true. Plus, it's usually done on like canvas, so it's a little more pleasant to the eye, rather than staring at sunlight through multiple tree angles that blind you in every way you look.
I will say, I think my very favorite things, though, are when there are, on album covers, the excellent shots of, statues or angels from cemeteries. And they capture different angles and things of these, statues.
Oh, yeah.
And beautiful. And some of them are just gorgeous. And I'd love to just walk through some cemeteries and try to take these kind of pictures. One day I will try to do that.
Well, as the viewers are probably aware, the footage of cemeteries that are in our videos is me walking through cemeteries here in Scotland,
Right.
of various ones in the local area. I have seen a lot of unique things when it comes to headstones and sculptures that
even little buildings that we don't know the names of.
Yeah, there's all types of like small like mausoleum glass houses.
Yeah. If anybody knows the name of those, like what is their official term for those small glass encasements that almost look like reliquary little buildings.
Yeah, or like headstones, aye.
If
I'll put
someone
up a picture
knows
of one, so the audience kind of knows what the hell
put
to
it up, because I would love to know the official term for that thing.
And I would also like to just point out, if you could find out what that term is, that'd make an awesome funeral doom band name.
It would.
So if it does have an official name, and you're trying to start a proper funeral doom band, look that one up. There's one for free.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the overall package of funeral doom, from top to bottom, for me, it really just is the number one genre in alternative music. It just is. Like, I love it that much that even when I do try and listen to other, like, various musics, it just doesn't hold that same resignation, It's just like, oh, I really just want to listen to a 20-minute song.
I mean, I definitely have. It holds a special place in my heart, and I do listen mostly to funeral doom, but I will listen to other things. I'm mostly the kind of person that just listens to what I like. But
oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'll listen to the odd bits and ends here and there, but I just always gravitate back towards this all the time.
I'm tending to do that. I mean, I obviously started a little later than you with it, but I'm tending to do that because I have it. It has a fascination for me, or should I say, I'm fascinated with it. So there we go. That's it in a nutshell for me. I don't really have anything else to say because I kind of touched on everything that I love.
I guess the easiest way this would go is lyrics 10 out of 10, music 10 out of 10, artwork 10 out of 10, the band names 9.5. And overall enjoyability, 1,000 out of 1,000.
Yes, I agree. There we go.
Funeral Doom, number 1. Well, folks, I guess that's going to do it from us here at the Dirge of Mourning. And remember, every day is a funeral.